Hey, Tyson Fury here. Absolutely smashing it, training camp. Hey, Hamora, get fucked.
I actually do expect him to win this rematch. I think he's bigger than Usyk, and that size advantage that he has, he, unlike most fighters, knows how to use that size.
Tyson Fury and Oleksander Usyk are set to clash once more, and the boxing community is on the edge of their seats, ready to bet their coin on their favorite fighters. Sean Porter believes that Usyk would have lost the match had he not caught Fury with those heavy punches. According to him, Fury probably watched the fight back and realized his errors that he wouldn't make again in the rematch.
I really wouldn't say he's been humbled. I gotta imagine they went back and watched the fight, him specifically, and just saw a moment where he was a little lax and got caught. I think, I truly do believe if he doesn't get caught in that moment that he probably wins the fight. I don't know if there was anything else that Usyk could have done to change the tide.
In addition to that, his size, focus, and experience will always be an advantage for him, especially in this fight. Porter thinks that Fury is preparing by working on his weaknesses and capitalizing on Usyk, before concluding that a very focused and determined Fury is a quiet and relentless Fury.
I actually do expect him to win this rematch. I think he's bigger than Usyk, and that size advantage that he has, he, unlike most fighters, knows how to use that size, that reach, that speed. I think the whole fight will play out the way that the first half played itself out. I think the whole fight's going to go that way.
Paulie Malignaggi shared that Fury has a lot on the line with this rematch. It's a must-win fight for him, considering the fact that he came off of a heavy loss. Losing this rematch would mean that he'd have to rebuild, which would be hard considering he's 36 years old.
Mid-30s, and you came off this huge loss. Even with that split decision loss, if you lose again, you get sent back into the sort of the pile of the heavyweights, the mix, and there's some dangerous fights in there. But do you really want to go get thrown back into that pile at this point in time in your life, where you've made money, you're comfortable, and you're at a point where it's hard to rebuild at this age.
However focused Fury may be for this fight, the only disadvantage Paulie feels is that of Fury's age and physical fitness.
Fury has always shown us when he needs to be super focused, have that laser focus. I believe it might be there. My question is physically, is it there at this age? Sometimes your mind wants to be there, but your body at a certain age may not be there. I don't know. I really don't know. But
Paulie looked back into their first fight to say that Fury did well in the first half, but let loose after. And Usyk remained consistent throughout the fight, putting on that mental stress and pressure on Fury, which eventually broke him.
Fury never took advantage by backing up Usyk. He let Usyk continue to back him up, cut him off, and made him feel that strain and pressure, despite the fact that Fury was boxing well, but he was constantly having to feel that strain and that pressure, that mental anguish, and eventually it translated into an error. The pressure did bust the pipes, translated into an error, and from that error, Usyk was able to turn things around.
He continued that Fury may change his boxing style the way he did within his fights with Deontay Wilder, where he became more physical and aggressive during the rematch.
Fury will have to make some adjustments, and a piece of me thinks that it could be in the form of the way he made the adjustment against Wilder, where from the first to the second fight, he went from a boxer on the back foot to a physical guy on the front foot because he was so much bigger. I'm curious to see how.
When talking about Usyk, he said, "Usyk is not going to go as quietly as Wilder did."
But as much as he surprises us, I think Usyk is just a robot as far as what he does, and I think that even if you're gonna be physical against Usyk, you're gonna have to deal with a guy who times you coming in. You're not just gonna be.
He leans towards Usyk because of his dominating fighting style, but did say that Fury has the ability to surprise his critics.
Has a history of showing us he can surprise us with different things that he's gonna try and different things that he does. No one really expected him to do what he did in the Klitschko fight.
Former kickboxer and professional boxer Chris Algieri thinks that Usyk will come out victorious once more. Fury is usually the fighter that puts pressure on his opponents. For him to go through the same with Usyk is what got to him in the first fight. Not only can Usyk put pressure on Fury, he does it better than him making him a threat.
Today, right now, I think Usyk does it again. I just think the guy is just, Paul, you mentioned the pressure. Very, very different fighter than Wilder, because Fury's normally the guy who pressures guys and breaks them over time. Now he's got a guy who does it. He does it, and he does it better than him. And he puts that pressure, and he stays in your face, and he has so much will, does Usyk. I don't see that fading just yet.
Chris thinks it's too early to say something concrete, but for now, he can see the fight going both ways. If Fury performs the way he did in the first half of their initial match, he will come out on top. At the same time, if Usyk is still relentless and smart in the ring, the fight will be a replica of the first one, leading the Ukrainian to victory.
I can see both versions. I can see Tyson going out there and doing what he did early in that fight and make it look easy and just get himself to a decision where he doesn't get hurt. But I also can absolutely see something similar to the last fight where Usyk gets him toward the end and is able to win enough rounds, even in the early and middle, to pull off the decision.
But he is leaning towards Usyk because of how much of a nightmare he is in the ring. Until Fury can defeat Usyk mentally, he can't win against him physically.
You know, we saw how dominant he was in the beginning and the middle of that last fight. And yeah, he made a mistake. He got cracked. He got hurt. And I do agree with you that if he doesn't get hurt in that situation, he probably wins that fight probably pretty handily. But ultimately, if you ask...
Sam Jones thinks that Usyk is the favorite after his performance in the first fight, but believes that Fury can win if he fights consistently and uses his height and size to his advantage. This fight will be big for British boxing and one of the most anticipated heavyweight bouts.
The first half of the fight, in my opinion, was kind of cruising in the fight, and then Usyk just kind of found his distance and was clipping Tyson. I don't know, Tyson just needs to be more consistent from the first bell, like from what he was doing, use his size advantage, his long arms, and I think he can win the fight. I do, but I don't want to say, oh, he's definitely gonna win, because I get loads of stick. But I do think Tyson Fury is capable of winning that fight.
Moving on, Terence Crawford shared his thoughts about the rematch, showing praise and appreciation for both the fighters. This fight, regardless of the winner, will be a huge spectacle and will be viewed by millions. In recognition of that, Crawford shared his warmest regard to the future undisputed heavyweight champion.
My prediction for the Usyk and Tyson Fury fight, both of them win. I like both of them. It's going to be a great fight. May the best man win. And to the new undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, congratulations.
On the other hand, Matt Macklin analyzed their first fight to share that his support was with Fury, but was impressed with Usyk's performance. He thinks this fight took a lot out of both of them since they're old, and fighting 12-round fights isn't a simple ordeal.
That fight took a lot out of both of them at this stage in both of their careers and lives. You know, Usyk's 37 years of age. I know he's probably fresher in some ways to Fury. But you know, he's done a lot of 12-round fights. He's not a massive puncher, so he's done a lot of 12-round fights, a lot of training camps, and he's 37, and all those amateur fights. So neither are spring chickens, do you know what I mean?
Matt believes that Fury will try to back Usyk up this time around, which will give the fight a new dynamic. Ultimately, he thinks both fighters have a brilliant ring IQ, so they'll be analyzing and sizing up their opponents really well.
They're both so clever. And they'll both be analysing their performances, what they did well, what they didn't do well, what the opponent did well, and everything. And then it'll be fascinating to see who can outdo the other.
Jay Opetaia is excited for the fight because the fighters will alter their fighting style now that they have experience with one another. It's a general consensus that the fighters have heavily reviewed their first fight, and it will affect their training camp and fighting dynamic. According to Opetaia, Fury has the necessary skill set to take down Usyk, but only if he utilizes them efficiently and brings his A game.
Yeah, that's a good fight. You know, I'm excited for this second fight. You know, I feel like they both sort of know each other now, and I feel like Fury, he's got the tools to beat, you know, Usyk, but he just needs to apply them.
Tony Bellew feels that Usyk has found Fury's weak spot in the ring, which makes him lose faith in Fury coming out of the ring as the winner. In fact, he doubled down to say that Fury will face a more clear defeat this time around because Usyk might fight on his back foot, which isn't a tactic that Fury is used to. Usyk tailors his fighting methods according to the weaknesses of his opponents, making his counterattacks lethal.
But if I'm being totally honest, do I think he'll win? No, I think he'll lose again. And this time, I think he'll lose really, really clearly because Usyk this time will go on the back foot, and that is the worst nightmare for for Tyson Fury, because that's one that he can't control. You've got to understand, Cougs, he pressed the whole fight. He walked.
On the other end of this opinion is Mark Tibbs, who said that as long as Fury controls the center of the ring, he'll be fine. Tibbs believes that Fury should land straight right hands and follow that up with his iconic uppercuts.
Well, Fury's got to get Usyk, really, he's got to hold the centre with him and get him on his back foot as much as he can, and he's got to get the straight right hand off before the right uppercut, in my opinion. straight one beats the uppercuts. And he's got to front hand him and back him up, lift him up.
Even though Fury took a few huge hits and almost got knocked out, Tibbs still thinks that if Fury had won the final round, it would have been a draw or a victory for him. Being aggressive is Fury's ticket to the undisputed title.
He was doing really, really well, Tyson, and let him back in, and Usyk got his left cross off, being a southpaw. He got it off, and I was like, oh. No, it could go downhill, and it did a little bit for Fury. He needed to win that last round, like big, yeah, to get a draw or the win.
Yeah, absolutely.
Undermining a great fighter would be a mistake, according to Piers Morgan, who expressed confidence in Fury's ability to avenge his loss. Fury has always been resilient, and that was visible when he took big hits, yet did not fall.
Think time.
The British fans want to know, is Tyson Fury going to be able to avenge that loss to Usyk?
He'll want to.
What do you think, Kenny?
I've never ever underestimated Tyson Fury.
The last one,
Eddie Hearn is of the same opinion. He respects both fighters immensely and praised Usyk for being undisputed and the best pound-for-pound fighter. But even he thinks that Fury has the ability to surprise the opponent and prove his critics wrong, so undermining him is a big no-no.
And Oleksander Usyk proved himself as the pound-for-pound #1 in the sport. Just a remarkable fighter, undisputed cruiserweight world champion, undisputed heavyweight world champion. And you know, every time I've bet against Tyson Fury, he's proved everybody wrong. So you can't rule him out in this fight. And all the respect for Oleksander Usyk. We have to be team.
Joe Rogan praised Usyk for his incredible fighting skills that stumped some big names like Anthony Joshua.
He's talented. He's so talented. He's so small for a heavyweight too. He's non-stop movement, and his footwork and everything, it's so different than anybody else. Joshua didn't know what to do with him. He's like, where is this guy?
So Fury becoming slower in the later rounds and not being on alert with a prey like Usyk might be his downfall once more. But even then, Fury is one of those fighters that can go down hard and still come back up.
Trained by the same guy. They were both trained by Lomachenko's father. So they both have extreme technique. And then you have Bivol and Bitterbeef that just fought. Same thing. Both like super Soviet style boxing, and you go, whoa, like this.
Tyson Fury's trainer, Sugar Hill, first reflected on their first fight to state that the adjustments will be made accordingly. They never expected that Usyk is the type to shy away from a real and scary fight, and neither is Fury, which is why they are great rivals.
I don't see him as a person who would shy away from the challenge. Neither is Tyson. So yeah, both of them are identical to me in my mind, as far as their competitiveness and their abilities in boxing.
Hill threw a few good one-liners and didn't go too in-depth, but he does like knockouts and would like Fury to be the one to do it, so he doesn't have to listen to the scorecards.
In comparison to the first fight?
For me, I like knockouts, so I like to see a knockout so we don't have to listen to the scorecard.
Hill feels as though the fight was grand and wonderful, despite the fact that Fury lost, but they will learn from their mistakes and get back up to put on another great fight.
It was a great fight. Both of them were aggressive at times, both of them weren't aggressive at times. And that's what made that first fight just such a great fight, for boxing, period. Whether Tyson won or lost, on my side, I'm with Tyson, so obviously I'm not so happy about the loss because it was a loss, but the thing to do is just to learn from that and to get better.
Moving on to Antonio Tarver, who thinks that it would be better if Tyson adopts a new strategy to fight for his rematch instead of sticking to his old ways. He's rooting for Fury to win, mostly because that would lead to an epic trilogy fight.
I think we have to see something different. You know what I mean? If Tyson Fury want to really, save, not saying his legacy, but save where he's at right now today, he has to win that rematch. Vitally important that he flip the table on Usyk and make sure we have a trilogy so we can truly see, you know what I mean? Maybe Tyson win back-to-back fights.
Carl Froch compared their careers, ages, and previous fights, and feels that Fury has fallen down and gotten back up easily, making him resilient, having fought big and powerful fighters. The first fight was a close one, or at least it was very close until Fury got knocked down in round 9. It's going to be interesting. Usyk is 37, he's older than Fury, but he lives life. It's not the age of the fighter, but the miles on clock. Fury has more miles on the clock, having had 3 tough fights against Deontay Wilder. Then he was on the floor against Francis Ngannou. But when predicting the the fight, he sided with the Ukrainian. Fury can be gassed out towards the end, but him winning would mean a third fight, which would be incredible to witness. I'd predict a Usyk win, probably on points. I couldn't rule out the late stoppage because if Fury does go for it, as he suggests he will, he could gas out towards the end of the fight. It would be great for British boxing if Fury could win it, as then we might even see a third fight. It's just an incredibly tough ask for him. Dean White believes that Fury has the skills to win this match as long as he doesn't fight on the back foot, because that requires a lot of energy.
Usyk win? No. I felt it was more a draw, sorry. Obviously the 9th round was his best round, but I didn't think he won. And I think Tyson Fury doesn't mess about, doesn't play any games, and shuts up shop and boxes his head off, and doesn't just box on the back foot either, because that wasn't a great plan to do. Do you know what I mean? Because he made himself tired. That's a lot of work for a big guy to be pushed back all night long on the back foot. That wears you out. So yeah.
White's advice is that Fury should switch it up and fight on the front foot to push Usyk back from taking control of the fight and putting pressure on him.
I think he needs to go back to what he was doing, try and box on the front foot and push him back. I think that's his route to win.
Johnny Nelson strongly urged Fury to come in this rematch with a different strategy to avoid what happened in the first fight. But Usyk has the arsenal to defeat Fury, since he showed that has the ability to hurt him with his incredible speed, precision, and technical skills. So now, having met him in the ring, Usyk knows where his advantages lie and what to expect from his opponent this time around.
Change anything like he keeps saying he's not, then the result will be exactly the same. If Tyson Fury... The problem is, Usyk now has a blueprint for beating Tyson Fury. But Usyk now knows, he doesn't think, now knows he can hurt Tyson Fury. Now knows he's a bit faster, a bit sharper, he can get away with certain things. He knows this. Usyk was coming in around the 15 stone bracket. And so he knows he has the speed, he has the power, and he has the boxing ability to beat.
Nelson has a similar opinion to White, that Fury needs to fight harder and revise his tactics. He views Fury as a complete fighter, but Usyk as the more skilled boxer. Fury just has to make Usyk uncomfortable enough to make him vulnerable in the ring. The Gypsy King needs to get a little dirty and aggressive and stay close to him to intimidate him and mess with his rhythm.
Respect. So the second time around, unless Tyson Fury changes drastically, and I still believe Tyson Fury has a beating of him, I think he chose the wrong tactics. I think what they probably worked on was the wrong thing. Tyson's a better fighter, Usyk's a better boxer. They can both fight and they can both box. One is better at the other one than the other. So it's about measuring it out. You know, Tyson's got to box him, be a little dirty, play close to the bone, make him feel uncomfortable, get him complaining. He's got to do that. He's got to change it up. If he does exactly the same thing he did in the first place, he loses. It doesn't matter what weight he comes in at.
Russ Amber just simply does not care about the hype or the banter or the predictions. According to him, all words are meaningless. In the boxing world, the ring is all that matters, and the action is where the real story lies. So Amber isn't really interested in the exchanges between the fighters outside the ring.
Yeah, listen, it's all talk, it's all hype. As we saw in the first fight, when all the talking was done, at the end of the day, you know, you had a winner and a loser, and that's what matters to me. I don't care. You can talk. It's all for show. You know, this is all to sell tickets and to get people to say, "Oh, did you see what he said?" And "Oh, did you see what he said?" I don't care.
He's only interested in the fighting and that the outcome would be. His focus is on the state of the fighters, their efficiency and stamina, how strong they are physically and mentally. That's what really matters.
Fighter is when we're in camp and when we go into the ring. I don't care what was said before. I don't care what you do at the weigh-in. I don't care about the stare down. I don't care about none of that stuff. I care that my guy's ready, that he's in shape, he's mentally prepared to do the 12 rounds the way we want him to do them, just like he did it the first time. And that's what I'm going to be counting on again for the rematch.
He's leaning towards Usyk because he was the underdog in the previous fight and proved everyone wrong. The world sided with Fury, but if Usyk stopped him once, he can do it again.
We did it once. You know, we did it when it counted.
To do it again would be nice.
To do it again would be nice, but we did it when it counted for the undisputed title. When everyone said he wouldn't do it, when everybody was, you know, not everyone, but a lot of people picking Fury to win. You know, we were the underdog, I think, going in. Everyone thought that Fury was too big, too smart. Fury thought he was too big, too strong, you know, for Usyk. And we did it the first time. That's what matters.
Adam Smith feels that heavyweight boxing is unpredictable at its core, so it would be no surprise if the rematch ends in a knockdown or even a stoppage. Many favor Usyk, but highlighted Fury's strengths that he's known for. But the only question is if Fury can regain his peak form and physically apply himself.
To get a knockdown this time. Could Fury get a stoppage? Could Usyk even get a stoppage? Or, as most people think, will it go the distance? And which way will the judges feel? I think it's close. It's a close one to call. I think probably the majority will go with Usyk just because he won the first fight. But Fury has got so many advantages too. I think one thing that could come into play is Fury's legs. What is still left there with Tyson Fury? Is he as good as he once was? Can he be as good again?
Who do you think would win the rematch? Do you think these predictions are accurate? Comment what you think below. Like the video and subscribe for more updates. Stay tuned for more.